opening up relations while protecting Canada's backyard, a significant diplomatic move in Greenland. As Ottawa takes a cold, hard look at Arctic security, its relations are warming up with Greenland as a new Canadian consulate opens.
December 2025. While America threatens military force, Canada is winning Greenland with diplomacy. While Trump appoints envoys demanding annexation, Canada opens consulates offering partnership. While Washington alienates Copenhagen, Ottawa strengthens alliances. And U.S. military leaders are watching in stunned silence as Canada executes the most brilliant Arctic strategy of the 21st century, winning Greenland without firing a single shot. This isn't speculation. This is happening right now. December 23, 2025, Trump appointed Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as special envoy to Greenland. Landry said the job aims to make Greenland a part of the U.S. The same day, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand spoke with Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen and conveyed Canada's support for the fundamental importance of respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity.
We have an Arctic foreign policy. The Arctic foreign policy contemplates greater engagement not just in Canada's north, but internationally as well. And so when we open a consulate in Greenland, we are expanding Canada's diplomatic footprint in another Arctic region.
Two approaches: America, threats and annexation; Canada, respect and partnership. Guess which one Greenland prefers? Trump told reporters at Mar-a-Lago, "We need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have to have it." When asked about using military force, Trump said, "I never take military force off the table." Meanwhile, Anand plans to visit Greenland's capital Nuuk to open a consulate early next year. I'm going to break down exactly how Canada is winning the Arctic power struggle. The diplomatic masterclass. Greenland's choice between American threats and Canadian respect. The strategic alliance forming. The rare earth minerals at stake. The military implications stunning Pentagon planners. Because while America blusters, Canada is building the relationship that will define Arctic sovereignty for generations. But first, if you want to understand the real Arctic power shift happening right now, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Your subscription helps us expose what mainstream media won't tell you about Canada's Arctic strategy. All right, let's start with what Greenland actually wants. 85% of Greenland's population has expressed opposition to coming under Washington's rule. 85%. Not 51%, not 60%. 85% of Greenlanders reject American annexation. But here's the critical data. A 2021 survey of Greenlanders found that 85% of respondents wanted a closer relationship with Canada. Same number, 85%, but opposite direction. They don't want America. They do want Canada. Let that sink in. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen issued a joint statement. You cannot annex another country, not even with an argument about international security. Greenland belongs to the Greenlanders, and the U.S. shall not take over Greenland. Clear, unequivocal, rejection. Now look at Canada's approach. Canada's ambassador to Denmark, Carolyn Bennett, said, "This isn't foreign affairs, this is family." And so I think that we really want to build on those relationships and respect those relationships. This is family, not conquest, not annexation. Family. Almost 90% of Greenlanders are of Inuit heritage. As a new territory, Greenland's Inuit would become part of the Inuit Nunangat, which stretches from northern Yukon to Labrador. Cultural connection, ancestral ties, shared indigenous heritage. That's Canada's advantage, and America can't compete with it. Akelo Berthelsen, president of Greenland's Employers Association, said, "Our direct ancestors, the Thule Inuit people, are the same people who also live in Canada and Alaska now. So we are very tied with these people. We are actually families, the Arctic people in Canada and Alaska and Greenland. Families, not targets for annexation. Families." Now let's talk about what Trump's aggression is actually accomplishing. Danish Minister of Foreign Affairs Lars Løkke Rasmussen summoned U.S. envoy Kenneth Houry to express Denmark's deep anger over Landry's appointment. Rasmussen called the governor's comments on annexing Greenland totally unacceptable. Trump's envoy rejected. Denmark, furious. Greenland, insulted. The Trump administration suspended leases for 5 large offshore wind projects being built off the east coast of the US, including 2 being developed by Denmark's state-controlled Ørsted. Economic retaliation against a NATO ally. That's Trump's diplomacy. The European Union swiftly rallied behind Denmark. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and European Council President Antonio Costa declared full solidarity with Copenhagen and emphasized that territorial integrity and sovereignty are fundamental principles of international law. Europe united against America. That's what Trump achieved. Meanwhile, Canada is building alliances. Canada's Arctic foreign policy emphasizes Canada maintains close relations with its Nordic Arctic neighbors, specifically the Kingdom of Denmark, consisting of Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden. These close relationships are underpinned by shared values, a common outlook on the world, and a shared commitment to ensuring a peaceful and stable Arctic. Shared values. Peaceful Arctic. That's Canada's message, and it's resonating. Now let's talk about what's actually at stake, because this isn't just about pride. Greenland holds vast reserves of rare earths, uranium, and critical minerals increasingly vital to advanced technologies and military systems. Its geographic position anchors U.S. missile defense architecture and Arctic surveillance. With demand for rare earth minerals expected to reach up to 7 times current levels by 2040, Greenland's winning ticket to geographic determinism and sovereignty lies within its own borders. 7 times current demand. Greenland sits on a mineral gold mine. The Arctic region could hold up to 25% of the world's oil and gas reserves. 25% of global reserves. In one region. Patuxent Space Base in Greenland is one of only 2 Arctic facilities available to the United States, the other being Clear Space Force Station in Alaska. The potential loss of Patuxent Space Base following the independence of Greenland would leave the United States with no redundancy and have serious consequences for both the future conflict and business as usual in orbit. America's satellite network depends on Greenland. Lose Greenland, lose Arctic surveillance capability. That's why Trump is desperate. That's why US military planners are watching Canada's strategy with growing alarm. Now here's where Canada's strategy gets brilliant. Greenland's 2024 foreign, security, and defense strategy acknowledges that the territory plays a key role in the defense of the United States against external threats, especially from the Arctic region. Greenland knows it's strategically vital, but instead of bowing to American pressure, the document articulates a desire for Greenlanders to take a more active role in Danish sovereignty enforcement. More sovereignty, not less. Greenland wants control, not to be controlled. And Canada offers exactly that. In terms of population and area, Greenland, 57,000 people over 2.2 million square kilometers, resembles Nunavut, roughly 41,000 people over 2.1 million square kilometers. Canada already governs Arctic territories with similar populations and geography. Canada has the experience America lacks. Ottawa supports the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut through transfer payments that total almost $5.4 billion in 2024 to 25. Extrapolating from Canada's financing formula, Greenland would have received roughly $1.6 billion, almost double the 4.3 billion kroner, roughly 860 million Canadian dollars, it received from Copenhagen in 2024. Canada could offer Greenland double what Denmark provides, while respecting sovereignty, while honoring indigenous rights. There is already a precedent for a North Atlantic Union. In 1949, residents of another remote outpost, also colonized by the Vikings and later administered by a distant European power, grew weary of transatlantic isolation. They voted to join Canada, and after a period of transition, Newfoundland became our country's 10th province. Newfoundland precedent. It's already happened. Greenland wouldn't be the first. Now let's talk about military implications. RAND researchers Michael Bonert and Scott Savitz have proposed expanding a modernized NORAD to Greenland and integrating Danish and Greenlandic personnel into its operations. This could simultaneously strengthen Canadian Arctic sovereignty, enhance NATO's Northern Front's all-domain awareness, and increase collective deterrence burden sharing. NORAD expansion to Greenland. Canadian-Danish Greenlandic integration. That's the military architecture forming, without American dominance. March 2025, Prime Minister Carney announced Canada intends to deepen its partnership with Australia through the development of over-the-horizon radar, OTHR, technology. Funding: $6 billion for Arctic over-the-horizon radar. $6 billion. Canada is building Arctic surveillance capability independent of U.S. systems. OTHR will provide advanced early warning and long-range surveillance, enabling faster CAF detection and tracking of threats in northern air and maritime approaches, while strengthening NORAD domain awareness. Canada doesn't need American permission anymore. Canada is building its own Arctic defense network, and Greenland is watching. Now here's what's stunning U.S. military planners. Canada and Greenland share the longest maritime border in the world. The territory is of great strategic importance to the Canadian archipelago in terms of its geographical positioning, giving Canada a stronger national defense policy, economic security, and greater supply chain reliability. Canada and Greenland are neighbors. America is thousands of miles away across open ocean. Greenland's global and socio-economic vision includes Canada. In Greenland's own foreign, security, and defense policy published last year, Greenland's government emphasized Canada's position as our closest neighbor, adding, "In challenging times like this in the Arctic, it is important for like-minded neighbors to nurture their ties." Our closest neighbor. Greenland said it, not America. Canada. In December 2024, Canada released a policy document detailing plans to ramp up its military and diplomatic presence in the Arctic. Canada is investing, building infrastructure, opening consulates, strengthening alliances. In a January 2025 national poll, 42% of Canadians strongly agreed that securing the Arctic is an issue of national importance. 51% backed partnership with allies, and 74% supported private-public cooperation. Canadian public supports Arctic investment. Political will exist. Resources are flowing. Now let's talk about what Russia and China are doing, because they're watching too. Russian President Vladimir Putin said he believes Trump is serious about taking Greenland, and the US will continue with efforts to acquire it. Russia has never threatened anyone in the Arctic, but we will closely follow the developments and mount an appropriate response by increasing our military capability and modernizing military infrastructure, Putin said. Russia is militarizing the Arctic in response to Trump's threats. Russia and China have been working together to develop Arctic shipping routes as Moscow seeks to deliver more oil and gas to China amid Western sanctions. Russo-Chinese Arctic alliance forming. That's the geopolitical consequence of American aggression. But Canada offers a different path. The Canadian Coast Guard helps deepen Canadian defense cooperation with Arctic allies through Operation Pacer Goose. The annual operation resupplies the United States Patuxent Space Base in Greenland, ensuring that essential supplies are safely delivered in challenging Arctic conditions. Canada already supports U.S. operations in Greenland, peacefully, cooperatively, without threats. Here's the bottom line as we close out 2025. Trump appointed Jeff Landry as envoy with goal to make Greenland part of the U.S. Trump said he won't rule out military force. 85% of Greenlanders oppose U.S. annexation. 85% of Greenlanders want closer relationship with Canada. Canada opening consulate in Nuuk early 2026. Greenland calls Canada our closest neighbor. Canada investing $6 billion in Arctic over-the-horizon radar. Canada could offer Greenland $1.6 billion annually, double Denmark's support. Greenland controls 25% of world's oil/gas reserves and critical rare earth minerals. Denmark, EU united against US annexation threats. The Arctic power shift is real. Canada is winning with diplomacy while America loses with threats. Make sure you're subscribed because this Arctic power struggle will define 2026. Canada is positioning itself as Greenland's natural partner. Shared indigenous heritage, respect for sovereignty, experience governing Arctic territories, financial support, military cooperation. Everything Greenland wants, Canada offers. Everything Greenland rejects, America demands. U.S. military leaders are stunned because they're watching America's Arctic strategy collapse in real time. Trump's threats pushed Greenland toward Canada. His aggression united Europe against Washington. His demands accelerated Russian and Chinese Arctic militarization. Meanwhile, Canada opened a consulate, strengthened alliances, invested billions in Arctic infrastructure, built surveillance systems independent of US control. That's the overnight Arctic takeover Trump didn't see coming. Not military conquest, diplomatic triumph. Greenland won't join Canada tomorrow, but the relationship forming now will determine Arctic sovereignty for the next century. And Canada is winning. This story is far from over. Stay tuned.